Hi there, this is Iceberg FPV. We're doing something a little bit different today. Rather than flying out in the field, we're going to do some modeling. I model a lot of my parts for my quads. For example, right now I run a GoPro mount that I designed, and you can see it here. And I also designed some frames. But today I'll be showing you how to make some basic parts for your quad builds using Autodesk Inventor Professional 2018. Now there are plenty of videos online showing you how to download the software. It's actually quite easy to do, and it's completely free if you're a student. So let's get right into it. If you're making a part using millimeters, then you're going to want to hover over New, see a little drop down, click that, and then New. Then you'll see plenty of presets right here. You'll see English, Metric, and Mold Design. Don't worry about this one. But in English, you can see you can make a standard IPT, which is Inventor part, in inches, or you can make one in millimeters. Now, let's go ahead and make one in millimeters, since that's what most of us quad goers use. So you'll see nothing on the screen. You'll right-click, and you'll see some different things. What you want to click is New Sketch. Then you can click a work frame. I usually click the XZ work plane. So now we are in sketch mode. Here we can sketch different surfaces, and we can use this to design plenty of different parts. So let's go ahead and design something really simple. Let's say we want to design a better thumb grip for your radio. So we're going to start out with taking our calipers and measuring the little screws that you would screw the thumbs onto. Now I've already done that, and I measured around 2.8 millimeters. So I know that the hole needs to be 2.8 millimeters. So what we're going to do is you're going to take a line, you click line over here, and then click this icon right here. This just makes it a construction line, so it's not actually involved in the extrusion, and I'll show you what that means later. So you want to click a starting point. I prefer the middle since it's nice and locked. And then you'll get two things. One, the angle. So since we want this to be flat, we'll enter 90. Push tab to go to the next one, and we'll see how long we want this to be. So since we want it to be around 3 millimeters, since 3D printing tolerances, I'm going to type 3. But since this is only going to be half, I'm going to divide it by 2. So you can go ahead and type 3 divided by 2, or just 1.5, whatever you want to do. So now we have this. Then you're going to want to take a rectangle and unclick construction line, because this is going to be part of the extrusion. So we'll click on the end of our 1.5 millimeter line and start making something upwards. So let's say you want it to be 6 millimeters. This is going to be the depth of your hole. And you want it to be the wall a millimeter thick. So you push enter, and now you have a rectangle. So now we're going to make the top. What you want to do is cover up the top of your hole, so you can make something that's 2.5 millimeters and 1 millimeter thick, and there you go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the arc part of it. So you can click rectangle, and I'm going to go with a construction line in this case, because this is not going to be part of our extrusion. So I'll make it 2 millimeters and 2 millimeters, and just click anywhere, and that'll still form it. So now what you want to do is click the arc tool, but you want to make sure you uncheck construction line. Then you want to click any point over here. I'm going to go right here, and you click up here in our top of the square, and this is where you can start to form the arc half of it. So this number here you're seeing is actually the radius of the full circle. So I'm going to go with 4 millimeters, because that's about right for me. Now I'm going to give this a little bit of depth. So I'm going to make this little part 1 millimeter tall. Now I'm simply going to create a line that is going up to around here. So this is 2 millimeters. You'll see a little dotted line. And then I'm simply going to connect this top using an arc to this section here. I'll make that 12 millimeters. This is the most fun part. Click Finish 3D Sketch, and now you'll see why this shape is so weird. So we're going to right-click, and then click the Revolve tool. So this is an issue Inventor has sometimes. I don't know why it does this, but sometimes you need to trace over some of the lines you've already made. I'll just cut back to the video when I've done this. Okay, so I'm back. I just clicked Finish 2D Sketch, and now I'm going to try to revolve again. So again, right-click, and then click Revolve. So you're going to want to select your entire shape, and then you want to select the axis at which it revolves around. So since it's going to revolve around this axis, in my case, I'll go ahead and click that. And then, you see the thumbstick itself has formed. So if we take a look around here, you'll see that the shape that we made here has revolved around and formed a solid. So now we can click OK. Now, if you want this to be your part, then congratulations, you're done. But since I want to add a few finishing touches, I will do so. So let's say you wanted to add some little sticky things up here, some little spikes. This is not very difficult at all. All you need to do is click underneath the plane icon and click Offset from Plane. Then you can rotate around by clicking on this box here. Click on the bottom plate here. And now it's asking you how far you want your plane to be away from this. You want to extrude your work plane until it's just above where you want it to be. So you want this to be the height of your sticks, of your little points. Let's say you want your little points to stick up that far. That's what you're going to want to make it. In my case, I think 10.5 is adequate. And you'll click Finish. Now what we'll do is we'll make a new sketch on top of the work plane. Then you want to click Project Geometry and project what's below you. Now this will just give you some little points where you can grab onto. Now we're going to make 6 little spikes on this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Construction Line, since this isn't actually part of our extrusion, and I'm going to make a circle. Now on this circle, on the circumference of this circle, is where your spikes are going to be placed. So let's say you want them to be around here. You can do that. I'm going to put them at around 5.5 because that's perfect for me. Then I'm going to make a new construction line from the center and make it exactly 2.5 millimeters long, or actually 2.75 in this case, because that is the radius of my circle. Now this will give you a point to grab onto. So you want to make a new circle and deselect the construction tool. Now on this little green marker, you're going to want to draw a spike. So I want my spikes to be 1 millimeter in diameter. So once I'm happy with that, I'll push Enter. Now rather than drawing spikes all around this and making more and more of these lines, we can use the circular command. So click up here, and you want to select the geometry you're rotating, and then click this here to make a center point. So as you can see, 6 little spikes just popped up. That's based on this number here. Let's say I want 8. Perfect. I'll click OK. And that's all I need to do. I'll finish the sketch. And now I'm going to do a new command. So this is where extrusion comes in. I'm going to click Extrude rather than Revolve. And as you can see, I can't select this circle in the middle because it's made of the construction line. But I can select these circles on the edge because they're not. So I'll go ahead and I'll select all of these. Oh no, you're going way too far. This is right here is where you can select your extrusion length. And we're going to go with 2 because that goes just about far enough. So I'll click OK. Now, we don't need this work plane anymore. We can right click it and uncheck the visibility tab. So these spikes will work just fine, but let's say you want them to be pointy. That's doable. All you need to do is click the chamfer command. Here is where you input your distance. So a 2 millimeter chamfer distance would mean if you had a 4 millimeter diameter circle, you'd make a perfect point because 2 millimeters is the radius. Since these are only 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter chamfers won't work, but 0.5 will. This is the maximum you can do. I'm going to go with 0.25 because I don't need it to be that sharp. In fact, the printer probably can't get that accuracy. So once I've selected the preferred sharpness of my spikes, I'll click all the outside circumferences and then I'll click Apply. And congratulations, you're done modeling. Make sure you save by holding Control and pushing S. You can save this wherever you want. I'm going to save it in my Inventor Files folder because this is my folder where I put my 3-inch frames. So I'll call it FSI6 grip. So then I'll click save. But you can't print an IPT file on a 3D printer. And why would you be making this unless you're planning on 3D printing it? So, go to Environments, this gray tab up here, and you'll see a 3D printing icon. Click that. Now you'll get options for 3D printing. You want to click Print Options and change your source units to millimeters in our case. If you made an IPT in inches, you would change it to inches. If you made it in centimeters, so on and so forth. Since this object has some fine spikes, we're going to click High for the resolution. Then we're going to click OK. Now we're ready to export it as an STL file. We're going to leave it at its current name and save it on the desktop for ease of use. Now that you've got that done, you saved your file. All you need to do is close Inventor, and your file should be waiting for you on the desktop. All you need to do is open your slicer of choice. I prefer Cura. Since I have a Lulzbot 3D printer, I'm going to turn it on by flipping the red switch on the front. And now all I need to do is drag my file. I made 2 of them. One of them for the sake of this video, and this other one that I perfected a little bit more to my needs. As you can see, it has way more spikes. And we're just going to rotate it to the correct orientation on the print bed. And since I want 2 of them, I'm just going to make another one. This is a pretty small print, so I'm going to click High Detail. Again, your slicer may be different. Then I'll simply click Control and print. And as you may be able to hear in the background, my printer is getting ready to make me some fresh new thumb grip improvers. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you want to see any more modeling videos, or if you have any questions, I'll try and answer them as soon as possible. And hope you guys have a wonderful day. Happy flying!